Hello, heroes and Zargons. I am Alfred, and this is the Trials and Tribulations of Zargon, a series which details the many ways in which the Emperor's heroes foil Zargon and his minions in their plots to conquer the Empire. In it, we'll review the published quests and any house rules or modifications I'm using to make the game more interesting and challenging. My heroes this campaign are played by a single experienced player, so they cooperate, share resources, and are wise to the wiles of Zargon. In this episode, we'll cover Quest 12, Barak Tor, Barrow of the Witch Lord. The quest notes tell heroes, war with the Eastern Orcs is brewing and the Emperor needs to unite the lesser kingdoms for the conflict to come. To do this, you must find the ancient Star of the West as worn by the King of Legend in ages past. You will be rewarded with 200 gold coins to be divided evenly among all heroes when the Star of the West is returned to safety. The Star of the West lies in Barak Tor, the resting place of the evil Witch Lord. He was defeated by the magical Spirit Blade long ago. This blade is the only weapon that can harm him. The quest begins in the southwest quadrant, where heroes can enter the western corridor by the door, or should they search for secret doors, explore the southwest quadrant. There, they'll find a wizard staff and several undead. If they're not careful, they'll stumble on the Witch Lord as they clear the dungeon. Opening his tomb releases him from imprisonment, and he can immediately cast a few chaos-causing spells, but he can only move one square per turn and attack with 2 combat dice. Unfortunately, he is also invincible. After finishing the southwest quadrant, the heroes can either exit north to corridors leading directly to the central chamber and the Star of the West, or south past a gargoyle to the same chamber. If the heroes leave by the western corridor, they will need to go north until they reach the top of the board, and there they will be sealed off by an undetectable falling block trap. 2 rooms full of undead in the northwest quadrant lead to a room where heroes can again choose between a secret door taking them towards the central corridor and a normal door. The normal door sends heroes down a doubly trapped hallway. In addition to normal traps, the hall contains 3 false doors that lead to solid stone. These rooms will be open in a subsequent quest, so the solid stone designation is a bit disingenuous. Anyway, heroes who explore this way will eventually reach a dead end and have to backtrack. I misread or misremembered the secret door in the first room, which dramatically affected our playthrough, since it forced the heroes to exit by the door, taking the route through the northwest passage to the Star of Heroes, and then south again through the Witch Lord's tomb in order to find what had then become a one-way secret door in this dungeon. By the time my heroes arrived in Barak Tor, there was nothing in the dungeon to challenge them. Even an invincible Witch Lord doesn't cause much trouble, especially if the wizard still has Tempest handy. Of course, my heroes encountered him at the very end of the quest, but I suspect the challenge would have been about the same if they had found him early, because they could quickly outpace him. The heroes marched north, dutifully slaying monsters, came south through the dining room that contains the zombie with the Star of the West, and then out through the Witch Lord's tomb, tempesting him on the way past, limiting his opportunity to cast spells or cause havoc with his movement. Taking the quest as a whole, the centerpiece and only really interesting part of the quest is the Witch Lord himself. The execution rules as written, however, comes with a couple of risks. The first is catastrophic. Even with a movement of 1, there are some shenanigans that the Witch Lord could pull to block the exit. Although there are technically 2 entrances to the room with the stairs, the heroes could accidentally seal off one of them. In fact, the fact that the westernmost hallway becomes impassable after the heroes pass through it was one of the reasons that I thought the secret door was only discoverable from the eastern side. It made sense to me that the quest had a linear structure to it. Anyway, if the western entrance to the stairs were sealed, the Witch Lord could block the eastern entrance, and rules as written, the heroes wouldn't be able to leave the dungeon. The second risk is less catastrophic, just anticlimactic. As I see it, the goal of this dungeon is to preview the Witch Lord, to whet the heroes' appetite for the grand finale from this quest pack. In order to make that happen, the heroes must discover and interact with the Witch Lord, but not too much. The quest artificially limits his spells and power, and while it's good not to reveal his full power in this dungeon, I also think it is better not to reveal that the heroes can exhaust his powers here. To that end, I want to limit the hero's interaction with the Witch Lord, and I want him chasing them out of the dungeon. The design of this dungeon makes playing out such a scenario likely but not certain. The heroes could discover the Witch Lord in the 3rd room they enter. They could also miss the Witch Lord entirely, and neither of these are great outcomes, I think. Neither are particularly resolvable given the current dungeon configuration either. Without changing the layout, My accidental modification to this quest, making the secret door in the starting room discoverable only from the eastern side, gives the heroes the greatest chance of discovering the Witch Lord late in the dungeon. Another possibility would be to put the Witch Lord in one of the rooms marked A and have that room become revealed when the heroes take the Star of the West. This sets up a scenario where the heroes never fail to awaken the Witch Lord and where the interactions with him are likely to happen far from the exit of the tomb, giving them time to recognize that he is invincible and run away from him while he fires off spells at them until they are out of his line of sight. The final possibility would be to just open the tomb of the Witch Lord when the heroes reach the library if they enter it through the eastern door. Whatever the case, I would warn my heroes that the Witch Lord can block the exit, give them some mechanic to push him out of position with, or plan to let my heroes bargain for their lives if I were going to try that stunt. As Zargon, I was extremely disappointed in my lieutenants this dungeon, and glad we played it as part of a multi-quest night. This quest served exactly its purpose. It was a prologue to our night, and a prologue to the final run of quests in this pack. While I'm not a huge fan of the gimmick of showing heroes a monster they can't beat, it's right in the realm of campy fantasy tropes that HeroQuest aims at, so doing one of these seems appropriate. Did your heroes have a tougher time with this quest than mine did? If so, let's plot together in the comments below.